And we are live. Welcome back to the James McGee Show, McLooney Live. I am your host. I am James McGee. And
And
again, Mr.
I am
Q.
Deirdre Looney. I don't know why I always do that.
Yeah, you do that. I think that's kind of a thing now. So, hey, let's just go with it. So, we got a couple viewers. Welcome everyone. You won't want to miss this one. So let's just talk a little bit before we dive into the meat of it. Let's get some people some time to catch up. Remind us when you went, when you came back.
So I left Friday afternoon. And then I came back. Well, I left there Sunday night.
Pretty much drove all night.
Oh yeah. That was a tough one for sure.
Oh, I didn't turn my little fancy lights on. Hold on now.
Yeah, I can't find mine, so
All right, let's see. Okay, that's better. Let's see. And you didn't get much rest, and you didn't rest. What you didn't? You pretty much drove all night both times.
yeah.
You and I talked a little bit while you were there, but not very much because of your spotty service and because of you were just fucking busy.
I was busy the entire time. Like there I don't even feel like I was busy enough, honestly.
Yeah.
It was yeah, it was a lot. So if you don't know, we're talking about Western North Carolina, the Hurricane Helene impacted areas, and on it, it's not even just Western North Carolina. This is such widespread damage that there's so many towns not even getting talked about that I found just the other day.
Let's talk about them tonight. Let's do it. Let's get into it. I'm gonna shut up. I'm gonna let you tell your story. But to start with, maybe to give a little background, you have lived in that area. You have
Not that area.
but you lived in North Carolina. You do have some, you have some contacts there. You have some friends there. So you went to help random people, but you also went to help some friends.
Yeah, so and I'll start with this. So I have volunteered independently. I've been asked this so many times, so I'm just gonna put this out there first.
The mic is yours. Do it.
I have independently volunteered on my first one was Kentucky. And I took those roads to get to Kentucky, through Asheville, Marshall, Hot Springs, all those. Never did I think I'd be going back there for a disaster. And then I also went to Mississippi last year after the tornadoes there. And so doing this kind of stuff is not as hard as people think. I'm just one person. And right when I just get the idea in my head, I right away just start, hey, who wants to donate? This is where it's going. Here's my Cash App, whatever. If you want to donate, I know people are weird about donating money, so that's perfectly fine. I don't care driving wherever I have to go to pick up donations as well. So that's kind of how I start. I got asked this in North Carolina. They're like, you mean you just go? I'm like, yep. I just go. And I don't really have a plan of where I'm going to stay, but somehow it always just falls together. And that's really how it works. And honestly, I'll just say that that's God. And so usually what I do is I plan to sleep in my car with a sleeping bag because as volunteers, you should not be taking up any space that could be used for a family that has lost everything. FEMA. We'll get to that too. So that's how I do it. It's not hard. Like you can literally just go and it'll most likely all just fall together. Just like this did. I mean, I have been praying on it because I wanted to go, and then it just like, it's my time to go. So yes, my friend lives in Asheville. She was my roommate in Raleigh. So pretty close. And when this all happened, now mind you, we wouldn't have known any of this if it was not for TikTok. That is, I saw the first video. I'm like, whoa, what is going on there? Well, this is crazy. So that's how I found out that Asheville was getting, decimated. So I had done extensive research to find out the exact place that she lived, and found her and, made sure she was okay and everything. She's good, thank God. I saw someone comment Tennessee too. Yes, Tennessee and also Virginia. So she's good. She's doing a lot better. Her work is completely destroyed. Like, the water rose up to the 3rd floor of a hotel, if that tells you how high that water was. And this is like a historic, the Grand Bohemian Hotel in Asheville. It's like a historic hotel. So beautiful hotel. So she was able to come back to her apartment and able to get back in, and it was actually that week. So I was like, okay, well, all right, we're going. So again, I did my thing, collected donations, everything came together, and I went. And when you do this kind of stuff, you kind of spend the drive there, like mentally preparing yourself, which is so important, to kind of like understand what you might see, how bad it might be. And you kind of got to like let out your emotion then, so you don't do it in front of these victims. I feel like that is a very important part to this. Now, what I will say about this, there is absolutely no amount of mentally preparing yourself for how horrific it is there. And I've been trying to tell this, and every time I tell this, I don't even feel like the word horrific does it justice. It is apocalyptic. It is I don't even think they have movies about this. That's how bad it is. And mind you, this is a whole month later, and it is still horrible. So Saturday morning, and also I fit all the donations in my car, by the way, for everybody who doubted me. All of them fit in there. And I still have
reasons to doubt, because that was a lot of shit.
I also fit my dog. So and another thing I do before I go is I join all the local Facebook groups, because I like personally helping people. I don't really like bringing donations to donation centers for them to possibly be thrown away, or in this case, they're being given to thrift stores. So thrift stores can make a profit, aka Goodwill. And so I did that. Saturday morning, I jumped on those Facebook pages. I posted, hey, I got all this stuff. I listed what I had, like very important things. And I'm still getting messages now, of people that are needing help. And obviously it kills me because I'm not there. I probably have over 100 messages, and this is all over. So I was in a group, Ashe County Hurricane Relief, I believe it is. Now, me thinking Asheville, Ashe County might be like close to each other. It is not. So I right away had someone reach out to me saying they needed kerosene, for a mom. She had babies. And it was a friend that had reached out to me, because where they are, there's like hardly any service there. So I was like, oh, sure thing. Of course, I'm going to absolutely do it for a mama. Like, I'm going to do it for anybody, but there's no hesitation. So then I put the address in, and I realized it is 3 hours away.
3 hours away from Asheville? No shit.
So
Okay.
we went all the way to the top of the state, pretty much to the border of Virginia.
So the damage was that far.
Oh yeah.
I
It's
see
even
people
further
don't
than that. It's in Virginia.
people don't realize that, D. I'm telling
No,
you.
I
People
have
don't
a whole
realize
map of that, and I'll
Okay.
get into that too. And
Okay.
I'll read all of that, just so people understand. Like, that is the whole point of this. I need y'all to understand how bad this is and how this is not getting covered on the news at all. Because, like I said, there was no mentally preparing yourself, because no words, no pictures, no videos can do something like that justice. So I said to my friend, I was like, I made a little mistake, and we're actually going to be driving 3 hours up today. And mind you, a lot of the roads are not open. Tons, hundreds. I would say there are at least 100 roads closed because bridges are out, landslides, all kinds of stuff. And the road that we did travel had tons of landslides. Also, the elevation up there was 3,400 feet, which is wild being that high up in elevation. I will just say that. So I have a few other people. I had another person reach out, and she needed a heater. Her mom actually reached out to me. Her mom was in Texas, and she also had babies. And come to find out, her mom is actually from the town I was from in Pennsylvania. Super small world. So she reached out to me, needed heater. I asked if she needed anything else. She said yes, blankets, because they had to use all their blankets for to keep water out. And mind you, this is a whole month later. This person had not been able to get to a donation center because they were trapped in their house because it was completely covered in trees. They had no cell service to be able to reach anybody to get help. And so the mom's telling me all this, and I'm like, absolutely. And we'll try to pick up stuff along the way for whatever she might need, because they also lost all their food in their refrigerator. And she had been living off of anything in their pantry, which, yeah. So we got all this stuff, and we're like, all right, let's go. We were going to stop at donation centers along the way because I didn't have a lot of kerosene. I had 2 small bottles. I wanted to be able to give them enough to last them a little bit for their heaters. And we stopped at a donation center because you could see it from the road. It was at a fire station. So we pull in hundreds of heaters, hundreds of bottles of kerosene. Like, there should have been no problem with me being able to get this. So I pull in, I tell the guy, I say, hey, do you guys have any heaters, kerosene, anything like that? And he's like looking at me weird. And I'm like, he's like, well, who's it for? And I said, it's for a mom, 2 babies. I also have another family I'm driving this stuff up to in Ashe County. He goes, oh, no, that's a couple counties away. No, we're not taking stuff up there. I'm like, never had that happen before. I worked at the donation centers in Kentucky. It was no questions asked. Whoever walked in needed something. If they're being dishonest, that's between them and God. I mean, that's how I see it. And again, there's hundreds of heaters there. You mean to tell me you don't want to help people in other counties that don't have this stuff? So I kind of told a little sob story of like these people. Nope. I'm like, okay, do you know of any other donation centers? He was like, no, I don't know what's going on up there. Completely just like brushed us off. And there was only 2 other cars there in front of us. So I was very thrown off by that. Me and my friend were like, that is so weird. You're denying people things like that. That's crazy to me. Um,
I'm writing that down because I'm letting you tell your story, but I have a comment for that, just from personal experience. But go ahead.
and again, I can understand like maybe regulating it, but you have people coming with semis full of this stuff like every single day, dropping off at these donation centers. So I was pretty upset about that because I'm like, are you withholding people's donations and like what are you doing with it at that point? Um, so I believe that was in Spruce Pines too. And so we keep going, and my friend's like, let's just go to Boone because they're going to have something in Boone. Like, Boone's a pretty big town. So we had to do pretty extensive research to find these donation centers, number one, which it should never be that hard to find donation centers with something like this. It should be fairly easy. And so we finally ended up finding one because they were asking for help 2 days ago. Well, when we went to the location, there's nobody there. We're like, okay, maybe it's around this side. There's a couple cars. So we try to go in. Nope. So then we asked somebody, she's like, oh, they packed up. They're done. I'm like, from these pictures, there's a lot of stuff there. So where do you know where they went? She's like, oh no, we don't need it here anymore. I'm like, so again, me and my friend were like, okay, so where did all this stuff go that they needed help with? They literally just posted this 2 days ago. And it was posted saying we need help on the 26th, which was Saturday. So that was weird. So I'm like, okay, so where are these donations then? Did they give them to thrift stores? Because that is actually happening. So then we're like back to the drawing board because again, I am not going 3 hours away with nothing for these people. That's not happening. So we find a church because my friend's like, well, why don't we just drive all the way there and see if they have anything there. So we find a church. And this lady comes out of the church. She's again like looking at us weird. And I'm like, hey, do you guys have any kerosene, blankets, heaters? We're looking for it. She's like, no, we're closed. I'm like, it says you close at 4, it's 3:45. Like, this is a church also. Like, donation centers are closed. What if someone doesn't get done work till or can't get out until 5 or 6? And these people have like water, which is a huge essential there right now because there is no water. And so my friend's kind of like, well, do you have any of this stuff? Like, can you go in there and get it? Like, what? We don't want to go in there. Like, can you get it for us? She's like, no, we don't have any. We'll be open on Monday for them to come get it. I'm like, okay, so the point of us delivering it is like because these people can't get it. Or don't know where because it is extremely hard to find any donation centers. And the cell phone service up there is not good. So then I'm like, well, again start telling the sob story. This mom has kids, had to use all the blankets, doesn't have a heater, doesn't have power. I don't think she had. Oh no, she did have power. She didn't have water, and their heaters ruined. So that's why we were able to get her a heater. And then the other need kerosene. Again, has babies. It's cold, and she's like, "Well, I can get you some blankets." I'm like, "So now all of a sudden you have blankets?" So weird. I have never seen this before of donation centers acting like this. And mind you, these donation centers are very far and few between, which is again wild because of the need there. The lack of help there is incredible. I again have never seen this before. And it's very prevalent too on every single street because every street is just piled with debris everywhere. So we did end up getting blankets from her. Then we had to scramble and try to get the funds to get a heater. And we got the kerosene. So we shouldn't have had to buy any of that at all.
Because they had dozens of heaters and
Hundreds
of gallons of kerosene.
Mm-hmm. So we ended up going to Lowe's, getting kerosene. Mind you, those were $30 a bottle for 2.5 gallons.
Mhm.
And then I think we got 2 small bottles too, which were $15.
That doesn't go far. That doesn't go far.
No, not at all. So then we ended up getting 2 smaller ones, and I think they were like 1.5 gallons.
What's the temperature there? So that's important. What's the temperature there at this
Right
time?
now?
While you were there.
So it was kind of warmer on Saturday, I will say that. I mean, I was wearing my tank top there, but at night it's 45 degrees.
Okay.
And then the next day it was cold. It was cold the next day. Like had to have jackets and stuff. So I see that. So then we're like, okay, so thank goodness my amazing best friend sends $100 and we were able to get the heater, and the heater I think was about $75. So then since they lost all the food in their home, we used the rest to get food for her. We were able to get a decent amount ish.
Good.
And it was great. Like, she was so happy. You could tell she was so sweet. They had just gotten engaged, and then all this happened. Their house, they should not be living in their house, but they don't have another option. So, and that is a big thing there. And where we were is not a lot of money. Like, the one person we dropped the kerosene off to, not a lot of money. So, like, what options are you left with? You stay in your flooded home?
Yeah.
Because FEMA's denying everything. And that is very real. So anybody who says that is not real, that is 100% real. And I've heard that from so many people that live there. Everything I'm telling you is my experience there.
And that's why we're doing this tonight. Yeah, this is no secondhand information. This is firsthand information. This is not something you were told. This is something you experienced on the ground, and that's why we're doing it tonight. Because there's so much false information out there, firsthand, and that's what we're doing tonight.
And the misinformation, I need y'all to understand that sharing any misinformation is life and death for these people. Because there are, well, I'll move to the next part in a second. So then it's getting dark. We head home. It starts raining, which they're like, it hasn't rained here since Helene. And you could tell the anxiety levels.
Yeah.
A lot different, which is so sad to me that people are scared of rain. And even me, like, a little bit scared because I knew the roads we were about to drive on. There was one part where there was little to no warning that this was a 1-lane road, and by 1 lane, and I'm sorry, Mom, my mom's probably gonna freak out with this. But there was no turning around at this point either. It was 1 lane, whereas if you made one slight move, you were going straight off the mountain because it took out part of the road in a landslide. So, like, there was no room to mess up at all. So that's the condition of some of these roads. Like, they still have them
and then
open.
the debris changes everything, especially a little bit of rain can really hurt because the drainage is just totally there's drainage doesn't exist at that time.
Right. And also when we were driving, we just like looked up. There was a house. You could see the bottom of the foundation of this house. That's only a matter of time before that house falls. Because the land underneath of it, yes, I'm gonna get to that in a second. The land underneath of it is gone in a landslide. So there are houses literally hanging off cliffs there. Not safe to drive. But there's no other option because every other road is closed. So we make it back Sunday morning, kind of the same thing. I wanted to get to Swannanoa because I knew that was a really bad area. I didn't realize how bad it was. It was
Hey,
really
look,
bad.
we expect you to be emotional. This is an emotional deal, so we expect you to be emotional. So
Yeah, the first day, I mean, it was hard, obviously, but it was a little more like, all right, we got to get here, we got to do that. Like we were so busy, it was distracting, honestly. So we had I had family reach out to me for the preemie formula that I had. Now, mind you, I had like critical supplies. Oh, actually, I'm sorry. She was I forget exactly, something with pediatrics. So she needed the preemie formula. I dropped it off there. I had another person reach out to me. Her uncle or friend was living in his truck because he lost his house. His truck does not run. But that's all he has. That's the only shelter he has. So I was able to get him a tent because I had one of those. We got him a sleeping bag. We had a cook stove, which someone donated, and thank you so much to everyone that donated. And so then I didn't have the propane, and I'm like, okay, he's not going to be able to get propane, obviously, because he can't, like, his truck doesn't run. So we ran to Lowe's, I think, and got propane, gloves, socks, and like an ear warmer thing. So, because other people had donated after we already got the heater. So I was like, perfect, we'll just get kerosene tomorrow and other stuff if somebody asks for it. So we were able to get that for him. Lady was super, oh my gosh, they were so sweet. And like I said, these people are such kind people. They don't even want to accept help. I mean, even my friend Amber, I'm like, girl, you need help.
Yeah.
Like, you have to accept help. It's here. So we did that in the morning. Mind you, we're running on 0 sleep, like no sleep at all. I think I had maybe 3 hours, maybe. Didn't eat. We hardly ate the whole time. I think we had like one meal, but there's nothing open either. So, we then had somebody asking for the feeding tube formula. She was they call it baby hub. Basically just a distribution center. So that's something I didn't really want to do, but I'm like, okay, no one else has reached out thus far. And the first person I was going to take it to, that fell through. So we were like, all right, let's head out to Burnsville. So we started driving to Burnsville. Then I checked my spam messages on Facebook. I had so many messages. I saw someone in there that was like, I have a feeding tube. I really need the formula. I'm also taking supplies. So I'm like, and at first I couldn't really like understand what the message, like, did she have a feeding tube or like, is she a supply center or like, what is this? So then my friend's like, no, I'm pretty sure she has a feeding tube. So I'm like, okay, perfect. Then we're going to go there and we're just going to tell the other people, sorry, but we need to get this to someone personally. Because I mean, if someone has a little bit left of the formula, like they really need to have that in their hands immediately. So that was in Swannanoa. So we're already in Burnsville. We found a Taco Bell. So we did eat Taco Bell before we went to Swannanoa. And it had us going in a loop around. A landslide must have happened when we were going because it said some weird message popped up and it rerouted us to go back the other way. So landslides are still happening. We get down to Swannanoa. It is horrible. It's horrifying there. And like I said, it's everywhere.
Where is Swannanoa? Where is that?
Swannanoa is about 20 minutes from Asheville.
Okay, so it's in the Asheville area, not Ashe County, where you went. It's in the Asheville area. Okay.
Because we were trying to stay closer because I had to leave that day and everything. I planned to leave around noon. That didn't happen because we were getting so many messages.
Yeah, I knew that wasn't happening when you told me that.
And I was not like, I'm helping people. I'm not. The fact that I even had to leave still definitely going back. But so we're driving to her house. It is just complete devastation. Like houses slid off foundations, houses crashed into each other. Like when I tell you this is nothing could prepare you for that. And knowing so and I'm telling my friend, I'm like, listen, if this is too much, because like she's living this. If this is too much, like we don't have to go. We'll turn around. She's like, no, it's okay. That I'm fine. It's help.
No,
It's helping.
that could go both ways. It can help. I've been there, and how you get through it is by helping others. And what was able for her to see, even though she's in a bad situation, there are people that are. It's really, really bad for a lot of people. You know.
I'd see, and I don't even think really, really bad describes it. It is something that nobody in this country should. And mind you, this is not a week later. This is not 2 weeks later. This is an entire month. And these places are decimated.
It's like a third world country.
I don't even think third world countries are this bad. I don't. I have tried so hard to make TikTok videos explaining this, and I can't because it is horrible. And you see kids everywhere. They don't understand. They don't have houses anymore. There's families living in tents. There's little tent cities everywhere. There's literally tents in gas station parking lots, or what used to be a gas station. And so we get to this girl's house, and oh my gosh, she's an angel. She is an amazing person. She does animal rescues. She also has a feeding tube. She was doing people rescues. Her port is very infected, which is not good. But she kind of told us a lot of what's going on. FEMA's denying everybody. They got denied. Her house is up a little higher on elevation. I'm not exactly sure how her house didn't flood. She said the basement did. But I'm not really sure how it didn't like get destroyed because everything down the street was destroyed. And so she's telling us like I handed her the hypothermia blankets and she's like, "Oh my gosh. these are life-saving. You don't understand, like, we don't have a lot of these. We were reusing some, like, this is life-saving, because I found a lady that was hanging on a tree almost dead, and thank God I had one of those, because she was in her last stages of hypothermia before she died. So that saved her life. And so a lot of people in tents have had to use those because it's cold there. She said the death toll in Swannanoa alone is 172. And they're still pulling bodies. She said they pulled a body on Friday, so I don't know if that was included in the 172 or not. But the death tolls are way off. Way, way, way off. She said there's still over 600 people missing just from there. That this isn't the entirety of it. That's just one town. And they had been denied. She also said that people were denied assistance because the properties that they lived on are no longer there. Like, the land is not physically there anymore. This river, it is the most insane thing that, like, your eyes could ever see. This river carved a new path. Where it was 100 feet wide, it's now 400 feet wide. Like I said, I haven't really, like, wrapped my mind around all this, because it's just, like, it's insane. Where roads used to be, the only way I knew that there were roads there is because of Google, and you could see the tangled, mangled guardrails. Again, I don't know how water does something like that. Is just, I don't
There's
know.
nothing more dangerous than water, D. There's nothing more dangerous than water.
She had a special needs son. He was so sweet, and he doesn't understand. She said he understands, like, a little bit, but not everything. See, and again, I don't think very sad even comes close. Every word that I've tried to, like, describe this, it just doesn't even come close. So she has a whole supply center. They don't have power out there. There's no water. They have to go to a spring, I guess, down the road they put the water in there. It's like that is something you'd see out of, like, an old time movie, like stuff like Amish people do. They're filling up gallon water jugs just to have water. It was pretty crazy only being able to wash my face with water bottles. Because again, there's no potable water out there. It is very, very chlorinated. And actually, somebody commented, and I wanted to read this, because people with wounds are having extreme issues with getting infections from this water. Yeah, it's just, I've posted, I'm sorry, I'm like, this is where I just don't know how to explain something like this, and unless you see it.
No, you're doing a really good job at it, and I think that part of people getting the feel of it, D, is the emotion that you're coming with it. So keep doing what you're doing, because that's how people. That's the only true way people are going to be able to relate of how devastating this is the emotion that you're displaying.
Yeah, and I've seen people, like, say, like, "Oh, you're a volunteer. Why are you getting upset?" Or not me personally, but I've seen this on Facebook pages and stuff. Um, but I'm not. It's traumatizing, not necessarily, like, for me, but to know that human beings in this country are living like that, and there's no help at all. Like, that's what's traumatizing. And having to leave there. Like, I came home and I genuinely, like, felt bad for having a roof over my head. I wish I could have taken all those people with me. I felt bad for I actually, like, grabbed a water bottle and almost started washing my face with a water bottle just because that's what I've been doing the last few days. Um, it is the apocalypse there. And, I mean, there's kids in diapers at the donation centers for a mom that's trying to find clothes for her kids. I mean, seeing all the kids' toys just in piles of debris and baby stuff. And so we stopped at this one place and because I wanted to get pictures of the tents along the river and the RVs and stuff. And when you walk past some of these debris piles, for the people who are saying that it's not true, it absolutely is true that it smelled, I've never smelled anything like it before. It was horrible. It was nauseating. There was 100% something in there. Or there was, and they got it out, I don't know, but it was horrible. And again, there was cars and trees. And I mean, who knows if there was people in there, I don't know. And actually, I only saw the cars that they were like this. And I saw it in my picture and I zoomed in and I'm like, oh my gosh, that's cars. I'm like, I wonder if anyone's ever seen that because it was like really, really hidden. And it's not really a place that somebody could get to. So that was weird. That was crazy. And again, all of the help that has been done there has been by civilians. The only thing that FEMA is doing out there is they're doing aid denial and approval inspections. And honestly, that's what they do. All the roads being rebuilt are civilians. I don't know if you saw the story about Chimney Rock, but Chimney Rock has been cut off for an entire month. The government told them that it would take at least 2 years to get this road rebuilt. Well, some West Virginian coal miners said, nope, we're going to get it done that week. And they got it done. The road is built. It's not paved yet, but people can get out of Chimney Rock now.
Well, when you give somebody a timeline of 2 years, it takes 2 years. When you give somebody a timeline of a week, it takes a fucking week. It's just like how it is. So when you give somebody an analysis in 2 years, shit can get done.
The government wants to take 2 years because they don't actually give a shit. They do not care about these people at all, and these people are being left for dead, and that is the truth. And I can't understand, and anybody that's there will tell you the same thing. It is unbelievable what is happening there. And it is unbelievable that the government is not talking about this. It is unbelievable that this isn't on the news 24/7. I mean, they could have some great news stories because it's just destruction and survival stories and I mean, you could get a great news story out of that. Not saying that that's what should happen. Well, I mean, it should be on the news all the time. But like the fact that this is happening in America is disgusting.
It is.
And okay, whatever the death toll. And you know that Tennessee and North Carolina, they just sent troops over to Middle East. There are still people that are unreachable. They're still finding towns. Actually, they were asking for volunteers last night in Spruce Pines because they found an entire area where people need to be rescued, and they needed excavators for recovery of bodies.
Unbelievable.
Why isn't every single resource in this, I'm sorry, y'all, I'm gonna cuss, in this fucking country not being used in these areas? And again, this is not just North Carolina. This is Virginia, Tennessee, and I'm gonna read the entire, and this is just the list I have because I got too overwhelmed to finish. Why? There is something very sinister going on here. I've never seen anything handled like this. When Katrina happened, I remember I was little. I remember that. It was everywhere. For months, you heard about Katrina. When have you heard about Hurricane Helene?
You're right. And I'll interject on one of the questions, and it comes from, I posted it a minute ago, comes from a good friend of mine. He's local guy here, Jeremy Trahan, that said, and we thought we had it bad after Rita and Laura. Well, Jeremy, we did. The difference is, now there's some different dynamics, but the difference is leadership. And this is a total leadership failure. Resources are there, just like Dee just said. Resources are there. We're sending National Guard troops to the Middle East from both of these states when their state needs them. It's a leadership issue, and we had good leadership during Rita, and we had good leadership during Laura, and that's what it's about. There's no reason, and I'll address something I wrote down earlier when you talked about how you were denied the kerosene and the heaters. So here's the issue with that. And I think that's government bureaucracy at its best. Mm-hmm. You're telling people, this person was given some instructions and he followed the instructions. Well, where's the human element? Well, here's the issue with that. The person that are manning, this is a month later, right? So the person that are manning these stations probably hadn't had a day off in a month. He or she probably were very affected during this storm too. So that's when poor decisions are being made because they're just not in the game. And that's another leadership issue. So not defending this person that denied you those supplies, but that's another leadership issue. You got to recognize, and we made mistakes like that too. You got to recognize who you have manning these stations, and are they fit to do that?
And everyone there, everyone you see is exhausted. These people are like walking zombies because they can't sleep. They can't stop.
That's right.
And unfortunately with these things, and I told the girl, the last girl that we dropped supplies off to, because she said, I'm terrified. She said, all of this has been done by volunteers. She said, as soon as the volunteers stop, we're done. That's it.
Yeah.
Our towns will never be rebuilt and people are going to die. And that is the very, very, very sad truth. Because they don't have the resources out there. This is solely relying on volunteers. But what's difficult is the damage is so widespread. That's what makes this 100 times more difficult. I don't know if there's enough hands to help. We would need every hand in this country, I think.
Do you think that anybody knows these people exist, Dee? And why not? Do they not have, there's no local government or these unincorporated areas that have no governing body? Where is the failure, besides, of course, the governor and all that? But there's a local failure too. Where's the failure locally? Because I just can't. And two friends of mine that are on here, Jeremy and then David Doucette, they'll attest to this. We can't, and we've had some of the most devastating hurricanes in this country in history. We can't even relate to this kind of failure because of it just shouldn't happen. So where do you think, being on the ground, where do you think the failure is locally? They don't have the resources. They don't have a governing body. What do you think?
I mean, I don't know because I don't know the ins and outs of it. And that's what I've been trying to figure out because I'm like, how? Like I said, there's no mentally preparing yourself for this because the information is not even getting out there of how dire this situation. This is life and death. So, like I said in my TikTok, is if the information is not getting out there, more people are going to die. People are living in tents. It is the mountains. It is cold.
Mm-hmm.
People are going to die of hypothermia. There's 96-year-olds living in tents. Okay, they can't.
That is just unbelievable. I can't.
There is a family of 6 with babies, kids, living in tents. There's 7 moms that either have newborns or are about to give birth that are homeless. They have nothing. They are scrambling, trying to figure out where they're going to be because the Red Cross shelters are leaving. And we all know how this works.
Yeah.
I figured out how corrupt Red Cross was when I saw what they did in Kentucky. They got millions donated to them. And
we ran them out. We ran the Red Cross out of here several years ago.
See, when I think they get a certain amount of money and then they're like, all right, we're good. We can line our pockets for a couple months and we're going to be good for the rest of the year. I think that's what it is, genuinely.
That's exactly what it is.
Because they said, oh, there's no need. There's no need? Because I saw a need everywhere. And mind you, I drove 3 hours. I drove through all these places so nobody could tell me that I didn't see because I saw it all.
Yeah, you didn't go just to the you didn't just go to a small you having to go for that 3-hour trip, which wasn't by design, and you end up having to go there, I think was probably the best thing that happened for you to really see. For you to really see what was going on. That drive really, I think it fucked you up, but I also think it opened your eyes to really what's going on.
That's what I told my friend. I said, I think this was a blessing in disguise because,
yeah,
I mean, even out there, there's no help. There's no donation centers out there. I mean, you don't even know how many people need help. I didn't see any machinery out there. I didn't see anything. Nothing at all. I mean,
those areas are going to be neglected because where the machinery is, where the money is, they're going to, to where all these private companies are pouring in, but they're going there to make money. And I'm not mad at them for that, but that's what it is. So,
I think that's probably and I'm being serious. A lot of people are doing this on their own dime. Like, people have literally quit their jobs. I just saw a post. This guy said, I quit my job. I feel like I need to be in North Carolina. Where am I needed? I'm going to stay as long as I can afford to.
I agree with that.
These people, I mean, I will say that things like this show how amazing humans are. There are some really, really, really good people out there. And we have to be. Because these are human beings. I don't care who you voted for. I mean, the one person I pulled in their driveway, they had a hair sign. I don't care about that. She was the nicest person ever. Yeah. And that at the end of the day, I'm still going to help them. And that is how we have to be.
And you should. So
now, do I agree with it? And do I think that voting for that is going to get people killed? Yes, it already has. And with something like this, like I said, this is a life or death situation.
Yeah.
And with spreading misinformation, I wanted to get back to this. You are potentially harming somebody.
Okay, expand on that. What do you mean by that? What disinformation do you feel like is getting people hurt?
The misinformation of the news telling you that the civilians are spreading misinformation.
Got it.
Where FEMA is helping. FEMA is doing everything. FEMA, no, that's not true at all, because that
So
is
that's
hindering.
100%. What you and I got hammered on TikTok on one of the shorts that I did, that people just went off saying that you were lying, I was lying, and called us all kinds of names.
I could care less.
I don't give a fuck about that. I welcome that.
Me, God,
But
truth. I don't care.
what I'm saying is that we were right.
So by spreading
You
that,
saw
hindering
firsthand that we were right, and they were buying in. They were drinking the fucking Kool-Aid.
Mhm.
The
And
media, the big machine media Kool-Aid.
by spreading all that around and making people believe that there's all this help is hindering people from going there to help. And when I tell you that these people are begging for help, begging, they need everything. They need food trucks. They don't have water. Okay. Number one, there are still places that don't have electricity. And it's because linemen aren't getting paid. There's a whole news article, Spectrum linemen not getting paid and living in shit conditions, not getting food, not getting anything that they're supposed to get. And they're contracted by FEMA.
Yeah.
But mind you, FEMA, and this is why I made my little side comment in the beginning. FEMA has their whole barricaded little spot. Exactly. They have their whole barricaded little spot in Canton, North Carolina. You can see it from the road. Looks like a pretty nice spot. Looks like a whole lot of trailers that, these locals could use that have literally lost everything. No, they're actually being used to house all the FEMA workers. So they'll use your tax money to house themselves, give themselves some great living. And these people living in tents, they're using their tax money to do this. But the taxpayers that pay their salaries, they get to live in tents. Really think about that. Really think about how the government gives no fucks about you. And that, like I said, as a volunteer, I'm not sleeping in a shelter. I'm going to sleep in my car.
Yeah.
Because I don't think that that's right, to be possibly using resources that someone who has literally lost everything they ever had in seconds could be using that. And then they asked, do we get FEMA trailers? Oh, we don't have any. They don't have any. Where are they at? Where the hell are the FEMA trailers?
Yeah.
Where? I've never seen any disaster handled like the handling of this is a whole disaster in itself. So just know that anything you're seeing on the news, anything that Kamala Harris is screaming out her mouth saying that Trump is lying, everything's misinformation, is the actual misinformation. That is the misinformation. And spreading that around is going to get people killed. And that's what I really want people to understand. Because like I said, that's what I'm seeing.
You
There
saw
was no
firsthand.
actually preparing myself because I didn't know it was as bad as it was. And I am in complete shock, along with everybody else, that these people are being left for dead.
I'm going to say it again because, I'm going to cut this up and do some shorts. So I'm going to say it again. This is firsthand information that you saw yourself. It is not somebody told you what's going on. You were in North Carolina for a couple of days and saw all this going on.
Yep.
So it's despicable that our mainstream media, the machine, is doing this, and you know why. And anybody with a lick of fucking sense knows they're doing this to protect an incompetent and incapable administration so they stay in power. That's what this is all about, which is despicable. We're fucking with people's lives here.
I mean, like I said, like I'm in these local groups and I posted a post. What is some important information you all feel like needs to get out to the public?
And look, if you
There's
met
stuff on
anybody in
TikTok.
these groups that want to come on the show, let's get them on. I'd love to get any of them on.
I know, and I was gonna say that, but I honestly,
I don't want to exploit people, but if
that's
someone, but you know what? It's not exploiting them. It's for the right reasons. We want to get it out.
right.
So,
And I had asked the lady if she didn't mind if I told, what she told me about her doing the rescues and her.
mhm.
She knows that death toll because she was doing it. That's also
Yeah.
not fake. And seeing how widespread this is, you can't tell me that the death toll is only 93. Like you can't tell me that. So actually, I want to read some of these affected areas just so people can understand. And by affected, I mean decimated areas. These are, I did research on this. So there is, let me see how it's going to go here. Oh, shoot. Come on. First, I'll show you guys. What the heck? Okay, so that's not even all of them.
Unreal.
So this is Fleetwood, North Carolina, Todd, North Carolina, Deep Gap, North Carolina, West Jefferson, Warrenville, Lansing, Creston, Popular, North Carolina, Blowing Rock, North Carolina, Villas, North Carolina, Flat Rock, Boone, Dillingham, Bernardsville. That's a very hard hit area, actually. And we just didn't have enough time to make it out there, but a lot of people need help out there. CeeLo, Little Switzerland, Pensacola, North Carolina. I didn't even know there was a Pensacola, North Carolina. Relief, North Carolina, Morganton, Marion, Old Fort, Lake Lure, Girton, Fairview, Fletcher, Swannanoa, Asheville, Weaverville, Marshall, Hot Springs, Spruce Pines, Burnsville, Banner Elk, Bakersville, Elk Park, Roan Mountain, Greenville, Tennessee, Newport, Tennessee, Parrottsville, Tennessee, Piney Flats, Tennessee, Butler, Tennessee, Unicoi, Tennessee, Hampton, Tennessee, Elizabethton, Tennessee, Jonesboro, Tennessee, Telford, Tennessee, Irwin, Tennessee, and I guess I forgot the ones in Virginia. Demacus, Virginia is decimated. And it took out a very, very main road connecting, I don't know how to, Canoa Rock to Demacus. That entire road is gone. And there's no help in these areas. None. You haven't even heard of half of these areas. I had to look them up on TikTok to verify if they were. And yeah, they're literally decimated. These towns are gone, wiped off the map.
D, anything you want to say in closing? What I think we do is give information on what could do immediate directly to help. What is the best way? If somebody's listening right now, they want to help. What is the absolute best way to do this?
Well, right now, what I'm working on is trying to get RVs and campers donated. That is, we have to get these people out of tents, or they're gonna die. Like I said, life or death situation.
Okay.
And that is the truth. Need people, if you have time, if you have any type of resources that can be used and you can afford to go out there for a weekend or a week or whatever, please, I am begging you, please do it. I'm also working with some firefighters in New York to get first responders that lost everything. And I think the person that I was talking to, I think there might be over 70 first responders that don't have homes anymore. Going on the local Facebook pages, if you want to find real information, that's where you're going to find it, is the local Facebook pages. Those are locals. There's also a Facebook page, which is amazing that we have social media like this. Adopt a Family, Hurricane Helene. These are all verified, double, triple checked, verified people that need help, that have lost everything. They are vetted before they're put on this site. So that is a really great organization. I have addresses where you can send things.
Where can
know,
we post that somewhere?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm gonna make, like I said, I feel like I didn't even get everything out because there's just so much.
No, it is, and I'm sure we'll talk about it again. We can go live again another night this week. We can do anything that you're willing to do.
People need money right now. That is a really, really huge thing because people need to try to rebuild. People's houses are getting demoed and condemned, and they are not allowed back in their houses to salvage anything. And so they're going to wipe those houses clean and they're going to buy the land. And that is the truth. They're wiping an entire section of trailers clean. And people are in those right now because they don't have anywhere else to go.
So if you haven't liked the James McGee Show Facebook page, like the page, because we're going to post any information that Dee has, we will post on the page, and that's how we'll get it out.
Perfect. Because I feel like also the censorship, I've had several videos talking about FEMA taken down on TikTok. Also, my posts asking for donations to go to Asheville was shadow banned. That's why I had to screenshot the post and post it different ways.
Yeah.
Why is that happening?
Because that's what they do. They have really been shadow banning me.
With something like this?
They've been taking my videos down for about a week. They must know you and I are friends.
No, but they're doing this to everybody. Anybody that talks about this, they're taking it down. Why? Like I said, there is something behind this. They want. I genuinely think they want these people dead. That's what I think.
Well, I'm gonna close with telling you in public how proud I am of you. I know how hard this is. How blessed we are to have you. How blessed I am to have you on this show with me. I absolutely know that God put us together, and together we're going to do some good things. And I'm so happy that that you agreed to tell this story, even though it's very hard. People need to know that, and you are a true angel.
I don't like.
I know you're not going to respond because you're not good, but I understand that. But I'm just felt like that needed to be said, and for you to do what you did is unbelievable.
I appreciate you. I do it because I also want other people to do it too. I'm a single mom and I don't have anything. I don't really know how I was going to pull that off. It's not a hard thing to do to help people, and there's so many ways you can do it at home now.
You're right,
and that's what I'm going to be working on. So if anybody knows anybody that has campers, RVs, ATVs too, because some of these places are only accessible through ATV and horseback still, please.
That shouldn't happen in this day and age.
Please send them my way because that's what I'm working on now.
All right. Well, I'm sure we will talk about this again. And like I said, Dee, if something comes up, you want to get something out, hey, we'll go live for a little while again one night. I'm all in on getting whatever word out. And also, I know you saw Jason was was on here, and I'm sure that he's going to want you on the show, and I'm sure you would agree to do that too. He's got a pretty good he's got a different audience, and he's got a really good audience. So hopefully,
Yes, ma'am.
I know he'll have you there, and that's what it's about, is getting the word out. So
Yeah, and I know people are going to get annoyed with me, and I don't really care, but this is what I'll be posting about for the foreseeable future.
yeah.
Because when I left that lady, she was scared that people were going to forget. I said, I promise you, I'm not going to let that happen. We're not going to make this Kentucky, and we're not going to make this Maui.
Well, we won't. So, all right. Until next time, McGee and Looney are out.
Bye, y'all.